The most repeated story in the Bible is the story of the Israelites coming out of Egypt to go to the land of Canaan.
Visbiežāk Bībelē atkārtojās tēma par izraeliešiem, kuri ir atstājuši Ēģipti un dodas uz Kanānu.
And the reason why it's repeated so much is because it's a picture of the Christian life.
Un šī aina top vairāk kārtīgi atkārtota Bībelē tāpēc, ka tā attēlo kristīgu dzīvi.
It's a picture of coming out of sin, bondage and slavery.
Tā ir aina, kur parādīt, ka mēs nākam ārā no grēka, no verdzības.
To come into a land that's flowing with milk and honey, has all the resources and freedom that we need.
Un mēs dodamies uz apsolīto zemi, kur ir viss, kas nepieciešams mūsu garīgai dzīvē, lai tā būtu bagāta.
And the journey was designed to take 11 days from Egypt to Canaan.
Un šim ceļojumam no Ēģiptes uz Kanānu patiesībā vajadzēja būt tikai 11 dienas.
But instead it took 40 years.
Par nožēlu šis ceļojums bija 40 gadu garš.
Because of the Israelites' disobedience,
tāpēc, ka izraelieši bija nepaklausīgi,
and their lack of trust in God,
un viņi nepaļāvās uz Dievu.
Instead of enjoying all the richness of Canaan, they lived in poverty in a wilderness.
Un tajā vietā, kur viņi varētu Kanānas bagātību baudīt, viņi dzīvoja nabadzībā tuksnesī.
And that is true for many Christians.
Un tas tā ir arī ar daudziem kristiešiem.
God brings us out of our sin not just to free us from our guilt.
Dievs ved mūs ārā no grēka.
That's a wonderful thing, of course.
Protams, tā ir brīnišķīga lieta.
But his purpose is to bring us into a fullness of life that we have as Christ fills us with his Holy Spirit and works through us.
Bet viņš vēlās mūs vest dzīvības pilnībā, pildīt ar Svēto garu.
But many Christians fail to enter in.
Bet daudzi kristieši neieiet šajā apsolījumā.
They come out of the old life.
Viņi nāk ārā no vecās dzīves,
but they do not come into the fullness of the new life.
Bet viņi neieiet jaunās dzīves pilnumā.
And there's nothing worse than being stuck in the middle.
Un par nožēlu viņi paliek kaut kur pa vidu.
The Israelites in the wilderness grumbled and mumbled the whole time.
Izraelieši tuksnesī ilgu laiku kurnēja un bija neapmierināti.
They were never satisfied.
Viņi nekad nebija apmierināti.
And there are Christians like that. They're never satisfied with Christ. They haven't known his fullness.
Un ir ļoti daudzi kristieši, kuri ir neapmierināti, kuri nav nākuši pie pilnības.
And I want to help us this week to understand how to live in the fullness that God has for
Un
us.
šajā nedēļā es gribētu palīdzēt mums saprast, kā mēs varam nākt pie pilnības Kristū.
Now the problem is, for 40 years, the Israelites knew the secret of living in Canaan, how to get into Canaan.
Par nožēlu izraelieši gan zināja 40 gadus noslēpumu, kā viņi varētu ieiet Kanānā.
But they never appropriated it, never made it theirs.
Bet viņi šo zināšanu dzīvē nepielietoja, nekad neizlietoja.
And I want to talk about a story tonight that took place soon after they left Egypt, which if they had really believed would have been enough to get them into Canaan.
Un šovakar es gribu runāt par to, kas notika tad, kad viņi atstājuši Eģipti un neiegāja apsolītā zemē.
It's in the book of Exodus, chapter 17, and we're going to read verse 8 to the end, verse 16.
17. nodaļā no 8. panta līdz noslēgumam. Amaleks uzmācās ar karu Izraēlam pie Refidīmas. Tad Mozus sacīja uz Jozu: izrauga mums karavīrus un izej cīņā pret Amaleku. Rīt es nošāšos kalna virsotnē un Dieva zizlis būs manā rokā. Un Jozu darīja tā, kā Mozus bija viņam līdz, lai cīnītos ar Amaleku, bet Mozus, Ārons un Hūrs uzkāpa kalna virsotnē. Un notika, kamēr Mozus bija savu roku pacēlis, Izraels ņēma virsroku. Bet, kad Mozus savu roku nolaida, virsroku ņēma Amaleks. Kad Mozus rokas kļuva smagas, tad viņš paņēma akmeni, nolika to zem tā, un viņš uz tā atsēdās, bet Ārons un Hūrs atbalstīja viņa rokas, viens no vienas, otrs no otras puses. Un tā viņa rokas palika stingras, kamēr saule nogāja. Un Jozo sakāva Amaleku un viņa tautu ar zobena asmeni. Tad tas kungs sacīja Mozum: ieraksti to piemiņas grāmatā un liec to Jozomam ausīs, ka es pilnīgi izdeldēšu Amaleka vīru piemiņu no zemes virsus. Un Mozus uzcēla altāri un nosauca tā vārdu: tas kungs ir mans karogs. Un viņš teica: mana roka tur tā kunga karogu. Tas kungs karjos pret Amaleku uz auģu audzēm.
That's a very interesting and very unusual story.
Tas ir ļoti interesants un neparasts stāsts.
The Israelites have just left Egypt.
Izraelieši bija tikko atstājuši Eģipti.
They'd crossed the Red Sea and God had intervened to bring them across the Red Sea.
Viņi bija tikko kā pārgājuši pāri, izgājuši cauri sarkanai jūrai.
And here they meet their first enemy.
Un viņi sastopa pirmo ienaidnieku.
It's a group of people called the Amalekites.
Tā ir ļaužu grupa, ko sauc par amaleķiešiem.
And it's interesting to know who the Amalekites were.
Interesanti uzzināt, kas bija šie amaleķieši.
Because they were actually relatives of the Israelites.
Īstenībā tie bija izraeliešu radi.
They'd both descended from Abraham and from Isaac.
Viņi bija cēlušies no Abrahama un Īzaka.
You see, Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Esau was the first and Jacob.
Jūs zināt, ka Abrahamam bija divi dēli, ka Abrahamam bija viens dēls, un bija divi dēli, un Īzākam atkal bija divi dēli, Jēkabs un Ezavs.
And the line should have gone through Esau, who was the firstborn.
Radu rakstiem vajadzēja turpināties caur Ezavu, kurš bija pirmdzimtais.
But Esau was one of these self-made men. He didn't need to inherit blessing. He could create his own niche in life.
Un Ezavs bija cilvēks, kurš paļāvās pats uz sevi, kurš nepakļāvās Dieva nodomam.
And so he despised his birthright.
Viņš nicināja savus pirmdzimtā tiesības.
And he was cheated out of the blessing that should have gone with it by his brother Jacob, and you may know that story.
Un jūs zināt šo stāstu, ka viņš atdeva savu pirmdzimtā tiesības Jēkabam.
And then Esau had a son called Eliphaz.
Esavam bija dēls Elifas.
And Eliphaz had a son called Amalek.
Un Elifasam bija dēls vārdā Amaleks.
Amalek therefore was a grandson of Esau.
Tātad Amaleks bija Ezava mazdēls.
And not only that, he was in the line that the blessing of God should have gone through in the normal circumstances when it went to the eldest son, to the eldest son, to the eldest son, to Amalek.
Patiesībā varēja būt tā, ka svētība būtu gājusi no viņa uz viņa dēlu un pēc tam uz viņa mazdēlu un uz Amaleku.
And therefore the Amalekites would have been the equivalent of one of the tribes of Israel.
Un tādā gadījumā amaleķieši būtu svētīti un būtu bijusi viena no Izraēļa ciltīm.
And Esau and his sons and descendants are the enemies of Jacob and his descendants who became the Israelites.
Un iznāca tā, ka Ezavs un viņa pēcnācēji kļuva par Jēkabu un viņa pēcnācēju ienaidniekiem.
And they remain enemies right through the Old Testament.
Un par to mēs lasām Vecajā derībā.
God said in the last book of the Old Testament, Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated.
Vecajā derībā ir rakstīts, Jēkabu es mīlēju un Esavu es ienīdēju.
Jacob represents the elect of God, God's chosen way of working. Esau represents the non-elect.
Jēkabs simbolizē Dieva izredzētos un Esavs simbolizē Dieva neizredzētos.
And I'll tell you why I think this is important.
Es gribu sacīt, kāpēc tas ir nozīmīgi.
Because the biggest enemy of the work of God in your life is not the devil, but the flesh, the natural me.
Tāpēc, ka lielākais ienaidnieks mūsu garīgai dzīvei nav Sātans, bet gan mūsu pašu miesa.
The Amalekites should have known the blessing of God, but they didn't, so they became the enemy of God.
Amaleķiešiem vajadzēja zināt Dieva svētību, bet viņi to nicināja un tāpēc viņi kļuva par ienaidniekiem.
The natural you and me should have lived under God's blessing, but because of the fall, that old nature becomes an enemy of God.
Lūk, tieši tāpēc, kā arī mēs nenovērtējam Dieva svētības, mēs varam kļūt par Dieva ienaidniekiem.
And this story is a picture of a battle that every one of us, if you're a Christian, fights every day.
Tā ir cīņa, ko mēs kā kristieši cīnāmies katru dienu.
The old nature in you rises up to fight against the spirit.
Vecā daba cīnas pret garu.
The spirit fights against the old nature.
Gars cīnas pret veco dabu.
There's a civil war inside your soul, and that's true of every Christian.
Tur ir šis pilsoņu karš mūsu dvēselēs katra viena kristīgā cilvēka dzīvē un
And
sirdī.
I want to see this story tonight as a picture of that.
Es vēlos, lai mēs šo notikumu uzskatītu kā atainojumu šai cīņai.
Because the first enemy against Israel are the Amalekites, who should have been people under the blessing of God.
Pirmie ienaidnieki Izraēlam bija šie amaleķieši, kuriem vajadzēja būt dieva ļaudīm,
But instead they become the enemy of God and his purposes.
bet viņi bija kļuvuši par dieva ienaidniekiem.
Now, how do we fight in spiritual battle?
Kā mēs cīnāmies garīgā cīņā?
Well, here's what God told Moses to do.
Mēs lasām, ko Dievs sacīja Mozum, kā jārīkojas.
He said, get Joshua to form an army.
Viņš sacīja Jozuam, ka lai Jozo sapulcē armiju.
Now, this is the first time Joshua is mentioned in the Bible.
Tā ir pirmā vieta, kur Jozo Bībelē to pieminēts.
He becomes Moses' successor 40 years later, so he's a young man at this stage.
Šajā brīdī viņš ir jauns cilvēks, bet 40 gadus vēlāk viņš kļūst par Mozus sekotāju.
And you get Joshua to lead an army in the valley to fight against the Amalekites.
Un Jozuam jāsapulcina armija ielejā, lai cīnītos pret amaleķiešiem.
But Moses, you go onto the mountain overlooking the valley with the staff of God in your hand.
Bet tu, Mozu, uzkāp kalnā un skaties uz šo cīņu, uz amaleķu, un lai Dieva zīzlis ir tavā rokā.
And God said, as you hold your staff in the air, Joshua in the valley will prevail against the Amalekites.
Un kad tu tur būsi pacēlis savu roku ar savu zīzli, tad Jozua un viņa armija uzvarēs amaleķiešus.
And so Moses did this, and Joshua began to prevail.
Un tā Mozus darīja, un Jozua uzvarēja.
But then Moses probably got a little tired, and he let the staff
Bet tad
come down.
Mozus nogura, un viņš nolaida savu roku ar zīzli.
And the Amalekites began to drive back the Israelites.
Un šajā brīdī amaleķieši spēja Jozuvas karaspēku atsist.
And Moses raised his staff in the air again, and the Israelites began to drive back the
Un tad Mozus
Amalekites.
pacēla Dieva zīzli, un atkal amaleķieši sāk atkāpties.
And whenever Moses lowered the staff,
Un kad Mozus atkal nolaida zīzli,
maybe he stopped to scratch himself or something,
varbūt, ka viņam vajadzēja pakasīt savu vaigu,
the Amalekites would drive back the Israelites.
amaleķieši spieda atkāpties izraeliešus.
I can imagine Moses had some fun with that staff.
Man liekas, ka Mozum bija ļoti nozīmīgi, bija interesanti redzēt, kas notiek.
He might say, oh, I can relax a little at the moment.
Viņam vajadzēja varbūt sacīt, es mazliet atpūtīšu.
And he lowered the staff.
Viņš nolaida roku,
And then he saw some Amalekites coming towards the Israelites.
un viņš redz, kā amaleķieši uzbruk izraeliešiem.
And they were nearly there.
Un viņi nāk tuvāk,
He raised the staff.
un viņš paceļ zīzli.
Got him.
Atkal ir uzvara.
Now, this is a remarkable story.
Tā ir brīnišķīgs stāsts.
What does it tell us? What does it tell us?
Ko šis stāsts mums liecina?
It tells us victory in spiritual battle is never won, it is received.
Tas saka, ka uzvara garīgā cīņā nekad netop izcīnīta, bet tā top dota.
You see, Joshua had to fight in the battle,
Jozuam vajadzēja cīnīties,
but the victory did not come from Joshua, it came from Moses holding the staff in the air.
bet uzvara nenāca no Jozua, uzvara nāca no tā, kad Mozus bija pacēlis zīzli.
Now, this staff that Moses held in the air is a very interesting staff.
Šis zīzlis, ko Mozus bija pacēlis, bija ļoti neparasts.
If you look at it earlier in chapter 17, you find there that the Israelites didn't have any water in the desert.
Mēs lasām par to, ka izliešana tūkstnesī nebija ūdens.
God said, take your staff and strike a rock.
Dievs teica, Mozum ņem zīzli un sit pa klinti.
And when he did, water came out of the rock.
Un kad viņš to darīja, no klints sāka tecēt ūdens.
Remarkable.
Tas bija brīnišķīgi.
If you go back to chapter 14, the Israelites were stuck behind a Red Sea they couldn't cross.
Kad mēs lasām 14. nodaļu, tad mēs redzam, ka izraēlieši atrodas pie sarkanās jūras.
God said, take your staff and hold it over the water.
Un Dievs saka, paceli savu roku pie ūdens.
And as Moses did so, the water began to part.
Un kad viņš to darīja, tad sarkanās jūras ūdeņi sāka pāršķirties.
And they went through on dry ground.
Un viņi izgāja cauri sausam kājām.
This is a remarkable staff.
Tas ir brīnišķīgs izlis.
If you go back to chapter 10,
Kad jūs atgriežaties 10. nodaļā,
Moses was still in Egypt.
Mozus vēl ir Eģiptē,
he stretched his staff in the air,
viņš paceļ savu roku gaisā
and a wind began to blow,
ar zīzli, un vējš sāk pūst,
and a plague of locusts came in with the wind and ate all the plants of Egypt.
un siseņu bari nāk un noēd visus augus Eģiptē.
It was the 8th of the 10 plagues.
Tas bija 8. no 10 sodības brīnumiem.
This is a remarkable staff.
Tas ir brīnišķīgs zīzlis.
You go back to chapter 9,
Un jūs atgriežaties 9. nodaļā,
and Moses held his staff in the air,
un Mozus zīzlis ir atkal gaisā,
and there was thunder and lightning and hailstones that beat down on Egypt.
un tur ir zibeņi un pērkoni un krusa, kas sit Eģiptes zemi.
This is a remarkable staff.
Tas ir brīnišķīgs zīzlis.
You go back into chapter 8,
Jūs atgriežaties 8. nodaļā,
and Moses took his staff and stirred up some dust,
Mozus paceļ savu zīzli un pieskarās pīšļiem, putekļiem,
and every particle of dust became a gnat.
un katrs puteklis kļūst par kukaini,
And there was a plague of gnats that began to bite people.
un lūk, šie kukaņi, šīs ūtis sāka kost ļaudis.
It's a remarkable staff, don't you think?
Tas ir brīnišķīgs zīzlis.
Go back earlier in chapter 8, and Moses went down to the rivers and held his staff over the river.
Un jūs atgriežat 8. nodaļā, un Mozus paceļ savu roku pār Eģiptes ūdeņiem,
And frogs began to leap out of the river everywhere. There was a plague of frogs.
un no ūdeņiem sāk nākt ārā bariem vardas.
Go back to chapter 7. Moses
Atgriežaties
took
7. nodaļā,
Moses took the staff and he struck the river,
Mozus ar savu zīzli pieskarās upei,
and it turned to blood.
un tā pārvēršas asinīs.
It was the first of the plagues.
Tas bija pirmais brīnums.
Every river, every canal, every pond, every bucket that had water turned to blood.
Katra upe, katrs ūdens krājums, pat katrs spainis kļuva par
This is a remarkable
asinīm.
staff.
Tas bija brīnumains zīzlis.
Wouldn't it be useful to have a staff like this?
Vai nebūtu brīnišķīgi, ka būtu tāds zīzlis?
You strike the river, it turns to blood.
Jūs pieskartos ūdenim un tas pārvērstos
You
asinīs.
churn up some dust, they turn to gnats.
Jūs pieskartos smiltīm zemei un tā kļūtu
Hold it in
par
the air and you get thunder and lightning and hailstones.
Jūs paceltu gaisā un pēkšņi būtu zibeņi, pērkoni, krusa.
You meet a Red Sea, no problem. Hold the staff and the waters will open.
Jūs būtu pie sarkanās jūras, jūs pieskartos ūdeņiem un nav nekāda problēma, ūdeņi sadalas.
You need water, strike a rock and water comes.
Jums vajadzīgs ūdens, jūs pieskarieties klintī un sāk ūdens tecēt.
You meet an enemy,
Jūs sastopat ienaidnieku.
hold the staff in the air,
Jūs paceļat savu zīzli gaisā
and God will give victory in the battle.
un Dievs dod uzvaru cīņā.
But lower your staff and you get defeat.
Un jūs nolaižat zīzli un jūs tiekat sakauti.
Wouldn't you like to have a staff like this?
Vai mēs negribam tādu zīzli?
To know you can go into situations and God gives victory in those situations?
Mēs atrodamies dažādās dzīves situācijās un Dievs dod uzvaru šajā situācijā.
Do you know something?
Vai jūs ziniet?
You can have a staff like this.
Jums ir šāds zīzlis.
Where did Moses get his staff from?
Kur Mozus ieguva šo zīzli?
Let me take you back to Exodus chapter 4.
Mēs varam lasīt 2. Mozus grāmatā 4. nodaļā.
And Moses is still at the burning bush.
Mozus atrodas pie degoša krūma,
And it says in verse 2, the Lord said to him, what is in your hand?
un tas kungs jums sacīja, kas tev rokā?
A staff, he replied.
Viņš teica zīzlis.
Let me pause there for a moment.
Vienu momentu klusumu.
You see, Moses was a shepherd, had been a shepherd for 40 years.
Jūs ziniet, ka Mozus bija gans 40 gadus.
Now, my father was a shepherd,
Mans tēvs arī bija gans.
and the basic tool of a shepherd is a staff.
Un gana galvenais darba rīks ir zīzlis, pieķis.
It's a stick about this high,
Tas ir tik augsts apmēram,
with a hook on the end of it,
un galā ir līkums,
and you use it to grab the leg of a sheep, to pull it in, to check it for
un šo
whatever you're looking
izlieto,
for.
lai aizķertu aitas kāju un atvilktu viņu atpakaļ pie ganampulka.
Before God appeared to Moses in the burning bush, it says he was out with his sheep. This was the basic tool of his trade.
Pirms Mozus bija tur pie degošā krūma, zīzlis bija viņa galvenais darba rīks.
This staff was the symbol of his income.
Šī zīzlis bija simbols viņa dzīvei,
of his livelihood.
viņa dzīves nodrošinājumu
of
pamatā.
his purpose.
Mēķis viņam.
What's in your hand?
Kas tavā rokā?
A staff.
Zīzlis.
God said, throw it on the ground.
Dievs sacīja, nomet to pie zemes.
And Moses threw it on the ground before God.
Un Mozus nomet to pie zemes.
And it says in the second part of verse 3 there, Moses threw it on the ground and it became a snake and he ran from it.
Un kad Mozus nomet zemē, šis zīzlis kļuva par čūsku un Mozus bēga.
Suddenly it's something to be afraid of.
Kaut kas no kā jābīstas.
Previously it had been a harmless tool, a staff.
Lūk, tas bija viņa darba rīks, šis zīzlis.
Something he probably put by his bed when he went to sleep at night. He would put by his bed when he went to sleep at night.
Viņš nolika to pie gultas, kad viņš gāja gulēt.
He probably wouldn't do that again. This has become a snake.
Un lūk, tagad šis zīdlis bija kļuvis par čūsku.
Maybe he used to let his children play with it on Saturday afternoons on his day off.
Varbūt tad, kad viņam bija brīvdiena, viņš ļāva saviem bērniem ar šo zīdli spēlēties.
But now this harmless staff has become something dangerous, has become a snake.
Bet tagad šis gan zīdlis bija kļuvis par kaut ko bīstamu, par čūsku.
And Moses ran from it, he said.
Un Mozus bēga, mēs lasām.
And God says, stop.
Un Dievs sacīja,
Don't run, Moses.
Mozu, apstājies.
This has frightened you.
Tev ir bailes.
Verse 4 says, reach out your hand and take it by the tail.
Un 4. pantā sacīts, izstiep savu roku un satveri šo čūsku pie tās astes.
Now, I don't know if you know very much about snakes. Do you have snakes here in Latvia?
Es nezinu, vai jūs daudz zinat par čūskām, vai Latvijā ir čūskas.
I lived in Africa for about 2.5 years in Zimbabwe.
Es dzīvoju apmēram 2,5 gadus Āfrikā, Zimbabvē.
And we had lots of snakes. I was working on a farm there.
Tur bija ļoti daudz čūsku. Es strādāju toreiz farmā.
We had boom slang, which is one of the most deadly snakes in the world.
Un tur ir kāda čūska, kas ir viena no bīstamākām čūskām pasaulē.
And I had a boom slang that lived in the thatch roof of my house.
Un tur uz manas mājas zemo jumta, tur bija kāda no šīm čūskām.
And during the day, it would come out like this, straight, about a meter.
Un tur, lūk, viņi kādreiz apmēram metru garumā izstiepās ārā no šī jumta daksteņiem.
And when I came out through my door, it would curl up and look at me and go, nom, 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 like this.
Un kad es tojos mājai, tad šī čūska raudzījās uz mani un kustināja savu mēli.
I would lie in bed at night and listen to this boom slang above my ceiling.
Un kad es naktī gulēju, tad es dzirdēju, kā virs griestiem šī čūska tur kustējās.
I hated it.
Es to nevarēju paciest.
One day I came out of my door and the boom slang was like this.
Un vienu dienu es nācu pa durvīm ārā un atkal šī čūska bija izstiepusies.
And he didn't turn and look at me and stick his tongue out. He stayed straight like
Un viņa
this.
bija taisna, viņa neskatījās tajā brīdī uz mani.
Maybe he'd become familiar with me.
Varbūt šī čūska bija pie manis pieradusi.
I crept back into my house
Es atrāvos
and I got my gun.
un es aizgāju, paņēmu savu šaujamo
And I came out very quietly.
un es iznācu ārā pa durvīm klusu
And I lifted the barrel of the gun until it was close to his head.
un es pacēlu savu šaujamo, savu bisti tik tuvu pie čūskas galvas, tik iespējams.
And I pulled the trigger.
Un es norāvu gaili
And his head disintegrated.
un galva sasprāga.
It was a wonderful moment for me.
Tas bija brīnišķīgs brīdis,
Because the only good snake is a dead snake.
jo vienīgā čūska, kas ir laba čūska, ir beigta čūska.
We used to have, I could tell you many snake stories.
Es varētu stāstīt daudz čūsku stāstu.
One day outside my back door, I'll tell you one, I found it's about 3 meter long python skin.
Un vienreiz es gāju pa savām durvīm ārā, un tur pie durvīm bija 3 metru gara pitona āda.
Pythons shed their skin every so often.
Pitoni bieži maina, jeb nomet savu ādu.
And I thought, I've never seen a python skin before.
Un es domāju, ka es nekad neesmu iepriekš pitona ādu redzējis.
Then I realized,
Bet tad es sapratu,
if there's a python skin,
ja tā ir pitona āda,
somewhere near there's a python.
kaut kur tūmā jābūt ir pitonam.
Now, pythons are not poisonous.
Pitoni nav indīgas čūskas.
They wrap themselves around you and squeeze you to death.
Tās ir žņauģēji čūskas, kas aptinas ap jums un tad nožņaud.
So I looked for the python, we couldn't find it.
Tāpēc es meklēju šo pitonu čūsku, bet nevarēju atrast.
Later that day, in my kitchen,
Vēlāk tajā dienā virtuvē
I opened the cupboard.
es attaisīju vaļā durtiņas,
At the back of the cupboard was my hot water tank.
un tur šajā pieliekamā durtiņām tur bija mans ūdenstrauks.
And there was the python wrapped around the tank to keep itself warm.
Un šim ūdens sildītājām bija aptinies apkārt šis pitons, jo tur bija siltums.
So I shut the door fast.
Tāpēc es ātri aiztaisīju durvis
I thought, what do I do?
un domāju, ko darīt.
I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything.
Es neko nevarēju darīt.
The next day I came into my kitchen
Nākamajā dienā es ienācu virtuvē,
and there was a python down one side and the other, bent in the middle.
un tur uz grīdas bija šis pitons.
Behind his head was a big bump.
Un viņam aiz galvas bija liels tāds izaugums.
It was my cat.
Tas bija mans kaķis, ko viņš bija aprējis.
The python had eaten my cat.
Pitons bija apēdis manu kaķi.
And we managed to get rid of the python.
Mums izdevās šo pitonu sadabūt rokā,
But I'll tell you one thing I learned about snakes.
bet viena lieta, ko es iemācījos attiecībā par čūskām,
You never do what God told Moses to do. God said, take it by the tail.
nekad nedariet to, ko Dievs sacīja Mozum, nekad nesatveriet čūsku pie astes.
You never take a snake by the tail.
Jūs nekad čūsku neņemat pie astes,
Because if you do, the dangerous part, which is the head, is loose.
jo tajā brīdī tā bīstamākā daļa, proti galva, ir brīva.
So if you take a snake, take it by the neck.
Bet čūsku jums jāņem ir pie kakla,
And you hold it by the neck.
un jūs turat pie kakla,
Then you have control of the dangerous bit.
tad jūs varat šo indīgo čūsku
I
savaldīt.
once had a snake which I was holding from behind its neck like this.
Es vienreiz čūsku tā turēju pie kakla.
It wasn't a long one, but it wrapped its body around my arm.
Šī čūska aptinās ap manu roku
And it began to squeeze my arm.
un sāka žņaukt manu roku.
The least I could say, snake, you've got your body around my arm.
Bet es varēju tai čūskai sacīt, čūska, tu esi aptinusies ap manu
But I've got
roku,
control of your head.
bet es kontrolēju tavu galvu.
Ooh.
Lūk,
And I killed it.
un es nositu šo čūsku.
Now God said to Moses, take it by the tail.
Bet Dievs sacīja Mozum, satver pie astes.
And I can imagine Moses saying, God, I've lived in the desert for 40 years. You never take a snake by the tail.
Es varu iedomāties, ka Mozus sacīja Dievam, Dievs, es 40 gadus dzīvoju tūkstnesī, un es zinu, ka čūsku nekad nedrīkst ņemt pie astes.
Moses, listen to me.
Mozu, klausies mani.
You take the snake by the tail, and I'll look after the dangerous part.
Bet tu satveri šo čūsku pie astes, bet nevis pie bīstamās daļas.
And Moses reached out his hand, took it by the tail,
Un Mozus izstiep savu roku, satver asti,
and it turned back into a staff.
un tā kļūst atkal par zīzli viņa rokā.
But it was not the same staff.
Bet tas nebija vairs tas pats zīzlis.
It looked the same.
Izskatījās tāds pats,
It probably felt the same.
izjūta bija tāda pati rokā.
His family probably didn't notice anything different when he took the staff home that night. His family probably didn't notice it to be different when he took it home that night.
Arī viņa ģimene to neizjūta, ka Mozum ir cita veida zīzlis.
But let me read what God said in chapter 4, verse 19.
Bet ļaujiet man sacīt, ko mēs lasām 4. nodaļā un 19. pantā.
Now the Lord said to Moses and Midian, go back to Egypt, for all the men who wanted to kill you are dead. So Moses took his wife and sons, put them on a donkey, and started back to Egypt. And he took the staff of God in his hand. Verse 19 and 20.
Un ej atpakaļ uz Eģipti, jo visi tie vīri miruši, kas meklēja tavu dzīvību. Un Mozus paņēma savu sievu un savus dēlus, uzsēdināja tos uz ēzeļa. Tā viņš atgriezās Eģiptes zemē. Un Mozus paņēma Dieva zīzli savā rokā.
Why did he call it the staff of God?
Viņš sauc šo zīzli tagad par Dieva zīzli. Kāpēc?
It used to be the staff of Moses,
Tas bija agrāk Mozus zīzlis,
but now it's become the staff of God.
bet tagad tas ir kļuvis par Dieva zīzli.
And look at verse 17.
Un skatieties 17. pantā.
Take this staff in your hand so that you can perform miraculous signs with it.
Un šo zīzli ņem savā rokā, ar to tu darīsi zīmes.
This is the staff with which you perform miraculous signs.
Šis bija zīzlis, ar ko viņš darīja varenas zīmes.
This is the staff when you strike the river will turn to blood.
Šis ir zīzlis, ar kuru viņš pieskārās upei un tā kļuva par asinīm.
When you churn up a dust will create gnats.
Zīzlis, ar kuru pieskaroties pīšļiem, putekļiem, tie kļuva par utīm.
When you hold it in the air will give thunder and lightning and hailstones.
Un tad, kad viņš pacēla to, tad nāca zibeņi, pērkoņi un krusts.
When you meet a Red Sea, as you hold it will open the water.
Un kad viņš pieskārās sarkanai jūrai, ūdeņi sadalījās.
When you are out of water, you strike a rock and God will give you water from the
Un
rock.
kad nebija ūdens, tad viņš pieskārās klintī un sāka tecēt.
And when you stand before an enemy,
Un kad viņš stāvēja ienaidnieka priekšā,
you hold the staff in the air
tu pacēli zīzli,
and God will give you victory.
un Dievs tev dos uzvaru.
Because this staff will symbolize a transaction that's taken place in your life, Moses.
Jo šis zīzlis simbolizē to izmaiņu, kas notikusi tavā dzīvē.
The one I've said to you, what is in your hand? And you said it's a staff,
Tev tika jautāts, kas tavā rokā, un tu teici zīzlis,
which represents your life,
kas reprezentē, pārstāv, simbolizē tavu dzīvi,
your income, your business.
tavus ienākumus, tavu biznesu.
You threw it on the ground before me.
Tu nomet to manā priekšā pie zemes.
And you discovered in your hand it can be a snake.
Un tu vari tagad atklāt to, ka tavā rokā ir bijusi čūska,
Something dangerous.
kaut kas bīstams,
But now you've given it to me.
bet tagad tu to dodi man,
Now I've given it back to you.
un es tev došu atpakaļ.
A symbol that you've lain down at my feet all that you possess.
Un tas simbolizēs to, ka tu esi nolicis pie manām kājām visu, kas tev pieder.
And this now will be a symbol of power.
Tas tagad būs spēka simbols.
Now it wasn't like a magic wand. The staff wasn't powerful. It was a symbol of what had happened between God and Moses.
Tā nebija nekāda brīnuma nūjiņa, bet tas bija simbols tam, ko Dievs tagad
See, God-
gribēja un varēja darīt.
God asked Moses for two things at the burning bush.
Dievs Mozum pie degošā krūma atklāja divas lietas.
He asked him for his shoes, and I talked about that this morning.
Viņš vispirms lika novilkt savas kurpes, par to es runāju šorīt,
And he asked him for his staff.
un viņš prasīja, lai dod viņam viņa zīzli.
Do you want to know power in your life?
Vai jūs zinat spēku, ka iegūt savā dzīvē?
Do you want to know the victory of God in the battles that you face?
Jūs gribat piedzīvot uzvaras cīņās, kuras jums dzīvē jāizcīna?
Then I'm going to ask you the question that God asked Moses.
Tad es jums gribu jautāt jautājumu, kur Dievs jautāja Mozum.
It's a very simple question.
Vienkārši jautājums.
What's in your hand?
Kas tavā rokā?
Would you drop it, says God, at my feet?
Vai tu esi gatavs to nomest pie manām kājām, saka tas kungs?
Wonder what's in your hand tonight.
Kas tavā rokā šovakar?
You might say, well, it's my job.
Tu varbūt sacīs, mans darbs.
I enjoy it.
Man tas patīk.
It's how I can earn money for my family.
Tā es varu nopelnīt naudu savai ģimenei.
Would you lay it at my feet?
Bet vai tu esi gatavs to nolikt pie manām kājām?
You see, if it's a good job that I want you to have, I'll give it you back.
Ja tas ir labs darbs, kuru es gribu, lai tev būtu, es tev to došu atpakaļ.
But you'll go back to your place of work tomorrow and you'll say, this is God's job. This is the staff of God.
Bet tu ies atpakaļ rītdien savā darbā un sacīs, šis darbs, šis zīzlis pieder tam kungam, tas ir viņa zīzlis.
This is a place God can work in my life and
Tā
through
ir
me.
vieta, kur Dievs var strādāt manā dzīvē.
You see, God isn't just working in church. He wants to work in you in your place of work.
Dievs grib darboties ne tikai baznīcā, bet viņš grib darboties arī tavā darba vietā.
But if you say, no, I'm going to hold on to it,
Ja tu turēsi to stingri savās rokās,
you'll go back to work tomorrow, but you'll be no different to the next person you work alongside.
tu rīt aizies atpakaļ darbā un tu nebūs citāds kā citi cilvēki, ar ko tu kopā strādā.
You see, in your hand, in my hand, it can hide a snake.
Jūs zinat, ka tagad tavā rokā ir tikai čuska,
But thrown at his feet,
bet nomet to pie zemes, pie viņa kājām.
He'll expose the snake and give it you back as the staff of God. It's God's job. and
Viņš
work.
atdos tev to atpakaļ, un tagad tas būs Dieva zizlis. Tas būs Dieva darbs, ko viņš tev devis.
Is Jesus Lord over your work life?
Vai Jēzus tad būs ar tevi tavā darbā?
What's in your hand?
Kas tavā rokā?
You might say, well, it's a piece of paper.
To būtu sacījis, tas ir papīrs.
What kind of paper?
Kāds papīrs?
Well, it's a qualification.
Tavs diploms, kvalifikācija.
It's going to help me to make a better living than I would otherwise.
Un, lūk, tagad man būs vieglāk dzīvot un pelnīt.
I've worked hard to earn this. I've worked hard to
Es
earn this.
ļoti esmu cītīgi strādājis, lai dabūtu šo dokumentu.
And God says, will you drop it at my
Dievs
feet?
saka, vai tu esi gatavs to nomest pie manām kājām?
You see, what you don't know is that it might hide a snake.
Jo tu nezini, ka tas var būt kā čūska.
Now, if it's right, I'll give it you back.
Ja tas ir labs, es tev atdošu atpakaļ.
But you'll take it by the tail.
Bet tu satveri pie astes.
And I'll use this qualification and your ambitions, I'll use them to accomplish my glory.
Es vēlos, lai tu savas spējas un savas tieksmes izlietot, lai pavērotu manu slavu.
What's in your hand?
Kas tavā rokā?
You might say, well, it's my purse, it's my money,
Tu sacīsi, varbūt mans maks, mana nauda,
it's my possessions.
mani īpašumi.
I've earned them.
Te viņi ir.
God says, will you drop them at my feet?
Dievs saka, vai tu tos nometīs pie manām kājām?
You see, there's no other snake is more at home than in our love for money.
Jūs zināt, ka neviena čūska nav tik bīstama kā mantas kārība, naudas mīlestība.
Money is a necessary thing,
Nauda ir nepieciešama lieta,
but it's our servant, not our master.
bet tas ir labs kalps, bet ne kungs.
He says, will you lay it at my feet?
Noliec pie manām kājām.
Will you allow me to guide you in the use of your resources and your money and your possessions?
Vai tu ļausi man pārzināt tavas īpašumus un visu, kas tev pieder?
So that your money becomes a means of God working and blessing.
Tā ka nauda var kļūt par līdzekļiem, par svētību.
What's in your hand?
Kas tavā rokā?
You say, it's my dreams, it's my plans and ambitions for the future.
Mani plāni, mani sapņi nākotnē.
Well, it's good to be ambitious and good to have plans and a vision for the future.
Varbūt, ka tie ir labi plāni, labas idejas.
But will you lay them at my feet?
Bet, kad tu tos noliec pie manām kājām,
Because you see, if they're your plans, your ambition, it won't further God's purpose in your life.
ja tie ir tādi plāni, kas arī viņa plāni, tad notiks Dieva
But
prāts
if you-
tavā dzīvē.
But if you surrender them to Him and say, Lord, your will be done,
Ja tu tos noliks pie viņa kājām un sacīs, kungs, tavs prāts, lai notiek.
it may be that the plans you have are ones that God has given you and He will guide you along that path. He may take you in a different direction.
Varbūt, ka viņš kaut ko citu grib priekš tevis, viņš varbūt vadīs tevi citā virzienā.
But the point is, who's in charge of them? Is it you or is it God? Or you laid them at His feet?
Jautājums ir, bet kurš ir tavas dzīves noteicējs? Vai tu esi gatavs visu nolikt pie viņa kājām?
What's that in your hand?
Kas tavā rokā?
You say, it's my family.
Tu saki, mana ģimene.
They're a gift from God to me.
Tā ir Dieva dāvana man.
I love them.
Es tos mīlu.
Will you lay them at my feet?
Vai tu esi gatavs to nolikt pie manām kājām?
Will you surrender your children and your family to me?
Vai tu esi gatavs uzticēt savus bērnus un savu ģimeni man?
Will you surrender your home to me?
Vai esi gatavs savu namu uzticēt man?
That your home becomes a place where God reigns?
Lai tavs nams kļūtu par vietu, kur Dievs valda?
Will you say, Lord, have your way with my children?
Vai tu esi gatavs sacīt, kungs, rīkojies
And I give
ar
them,
maniem bērniem tā, kā tu gribi?
and I give them to you that you might take them for your glory and use them in their future for your glory.
Es gribu tos nodot tev, lai tu viņus lietot, lai viņi nākotnē vairot tavu slavu.
Now, you can never guarantee your children's future in any sense.
Jūs jau nevarat tik nekādā gadījumā garantēt savu bērnu nākotni.
You can't guarantee their walk with God.
Jūs nevarat garantēt, ka viņi staigās tā kunga ceļus.
But you can make it very easy for them, where from your point of view you're saying, these are given to God.
Bet jūs varat viņiem darīt zināmu, ka viņi ir nodot tam kungam.
What's that in your hand?
Kas ir tavā rokā?
You say it's somebody else's hand.
Jūs sakat, kāda cita roka.
It's my girlfriend
Tā ir mana draudzene,
or my boyfriend.
mans draugs,
Will you lay her at my feet?
vai tu esi gatavs viņu nolikt pie manām kājām?
Do you know there are too many Christians holding the wrong hands?
Jūs ziniet, ka tik daudz kristiešu, kur turi savā rokā nepareizu roku.
If she's right for you,
Ja viņa ir īstā persona priekš tevis,
if he's right for you, don't worry, I'll give them back to you.
ja viņš ir īstais cilvēks priekš tevis, neraizījies, es te viņu atdošu atpakaļ.
And if she's wrong, I'll take her away,
Bet ja tā nav īstā persona, es paņemšu to projām,
and you'll be glad.
un tu būsi beidzot priecīgs.
But you say, but I'm already 25, and
Bet tu saki, bet man jau ir 25 gadi,
if I let go of this hand, there won't be anybody left. Mightn't be anybody left.
ja es atlaidīšu šo roku, man nebūs vairs neviena.
Well, you can keep the girl if you want to.
Tu jau vari turēt, ja tu gribi.
You can keep the boy if you want to.
Tu vari turēt šo savu draugu, ja tu viņu gribi.
But I'll warn you, you'll keep the snake.
Bet es tevi brīdinu, tu turi savā rokā čūsku.
And you don't know when that snake will uncoil.
Un tu nezini to brīdi, kad šī čūska atritināsies.
And God says, will you let me guide you in that area of your life?
Vai tu esi gatavs Dievam sacīt, ka Dievs tevi var vadīt kādā citā virzienā?
What's in your hand?
Kas tavā rokā?
You say it's my Christian service.
Tu saki, mana kristīgā kalpošana.
I teach a Bible class.
Es mācu Bībeles klasi.
I'm a deacon.
Es esmu draudzes diakons.
I work with young people.
Es strādāju ar jauniešiem.
I teach children in Sunday school.
Es mācu bērnu svētdienas skolā.
God says, will you lay that at my feet?
Dievs saka, vai tu esi gatavs to visu nolikt pie manām kājām?
Otherwise it'll be your work,
Citādi tas būs tavs darbs.
your Bible class,
Tā būs tava Bībeles
your
klase,
youth ministry,
tava jauniešu kalpošana,
your Sunday school
tava
class,
svētdienas skolas klase,
your church.
tava draudze.
And every time you go to that ministry, you'll take the snake with you.
Un katru reizi, kad tu dosies kalpošanā, tu turēsi rokā čūsku.
Do you know my experiences are too many elders and deacons and sometimes ministers who say this is my ministry and they take the snake to
Es
their
zinu
meetings.
daudzus draudzes darbiniekus, diakonus, kuri strādā draudzē un kuri domā, ka tas, ko viņi dara, ir viņu lieta, bet viņi tur savās rokās čūsku.
You see, this is God's church,
Tā taču ir Dieva draudze.
and every church is to be lived under the authority of Jesus Christ.
Un katrai draudzei jādzīvo zem Jēzus Kristus autoritātes.
And every one of us who engage in Christian ministry must say, Lord, what do you want to do here amongst us? You are Lord.
Un katram vienam, kas dara Dieva darbu, ir jābūt gatavam sacīt, kungs, ko tu gribi, lai es daru tavā darbā?
But you have to lay that down.
Bet tev jāliek pie viņa kājām.
In the church I serve, we've just been through a very difficult time.
Draudze, kurā es kalpoju, nesen gāja cauri grūtiem laikiem.
We had some people who were involved as deacons and elders who had their own agenda.
Mums bija tādi draudzes vecai un diakoni, kuriem bija savi plāni draudzē.
And it became evident.
Un tas kļuva redzams.
We had to have a time of saying together, kneel before God and say, Lord, your will be done in this church. Every agenda of our own we want to crucify.
Mums vajadzēja viņiem sacīt, saki, kungs, tas ir tavs darbs, un katram plānam ir jābūt pakļautam tev.
That you might be head of this church, you might guide us and lead us.
Tev jābūt draudzes galvam, tev ir mūs jāvada.
And it was very difficult.
Un tas bija ļoti grūti.
And some people resigned, and they had to.
Un daži ļaudis aizgāja. Viņiem tas bija jādara.
But God has brought new blessing.
Bet tas kungs ir atnesis jaunas svētības.
I have to ask myself as a pastor,
Man kā mācītājiem ir jājautā,
is it mine or is it God's, the work I do?
vai tas ir Dieva vai mans darbs, ko es daru.
And laid it at his feet.
Un jānoliek pie viņa kājām.
Otherwise, I go to the pulpit every Sunday and the snake comes with me.
Un citādi es eju kancelē katru svētdienu un čūska nāk man
And in
līdzi.
case you're not sure, I'll tell you who the snake is in 1 minute. I'll tell you who the snake is in 1 minute if you're not sure who the snake is.
Un es jums pateikšu tūlīt, ko nozīmē šī čūska, par ko es runāju.
But one more question, what's in your hand?
Bet vēl viens jautājums, kas tavā rokā?
And you might say, it's myself.
Un tu varbūt sacīs, es pats.
Would you give yourself to Jesus Christ and lay yourself at his feet?
Vai tu esi gatavs sevi nodot Jēzum Kristum, nolikt sevi pie viņa kājām?
3 people were baptized this morning from this congregation.
divi cilvēki no šīs draudzes tika šajā rītā kristīti.
And we heard their testimony.
Mēs dzirdējām viņu liecību.
We heard them say, I believe that Jesus is God's son.
Viņi sacīja, es ticu Jēzum Kristum kā Dieva dēlam.
I have given myself to him in surrender.
Es esmu sevi nodevis, uzticējis viņam.
I am publicly stating by baptism that my life is under the lordship of Christ.
Ar šo kristības soli es gribu apliecināt, ka Jēzus ir kļuvis par manu kungu.
But maybe you could not say that.
Bet varbūt jūs nevarat to sacīt.
Now you may have been baptized years ago, but you've moved away and you've become preoccupied again with yourself.
Varbūt jūs tā darījāt, bet tagad jūs pēc kristības esat attālinājušies un dzīvojat savu dzīvi.
And the Lord Jesus says to you, what's in your hand?
Un Jēzus Kristus saka, kas tavā rokā?
If it's yourself you're holding on to,
Varbūt tas ir tu pats, kas turi sevi savā rokā.
would you place yourself at my feet?
Vai tu esi gatavs sevi nolikt pie manām kājām?
And you go back home tonight,
Un jūs šovakar iesiet mājup,
you look the same.
jūs būsiet tādi paši.
When you go to work tomorrow, or to school tomorrow, or to college, wherever you are,
Kad jūs
people will
iesiet-
recognize you the same way.
Rītdien, kad jūs iesiet darbā, savā skolā, savā koledžā, ļaudis redzēs, ka jūs esat tādi paši.
You'll have the same face and you'll be the same shape.
Jums būs tas pats vaiks un jūs izskatīsiet.
The same, but it was the staff of God.
Mozus zizlis izskatījās tāds pats, bet tas bija Dieva zizlis.
Do you know who the snake is?
Jūs zināt, kas ir čūska?
Of course you do.
Protams, ka jūs zināt.
From Genesis chapter 3,
Pirmajā Mozus grāmatā, 3. nodaļā.
it says the serpent was more crafty than any of the other animals God had made.
Tur rakstīts, ka čūska bija visgudrākā no visiem dzīvniekiem, ko Dievs bija radījis.
And this snake came into the Garden of Eden to destroy the relationship that Adam and Eve had with God.
Un šī čūska ieradās Ēdenes dārzā, lai iznīcinātu cilvēku un Dieva sadraudzību.
And then right to the end of the Bible, Revelation chapter 20, it speaks of that ancient serpent who is the devil.
Un Jāņa atklāsmes grāmatā beigās 20. nodaļā runāts par veco čūsku, kas ir Satans.
From Genesis to Revelation, the serpent, the snake, raises his ugly head as a symbol of the evil one.
No pirmās Mozus grāmatas līdz atklāsmes grāmatai mēs redzam, ka čūska paceļ savu ļauno galvu kā ļaunuma simbolu.
And you can be sure of this, he's out to get you, to destroy you.
Un šī čūska ir gatava tevi iegūt.
He is not your friend, no matter what he seems to offer to you.
Šī čūska nav tava draudzene vienalga, ko tā piedāvā tev.
And the only way to deal with the serpent and the battle with evil in your life
Un vienīgais veids, kā cīnīties ar šo čūsku, ar šo ļaunumu tavā dzīvē,
is to bring everything you have and lay it at the feet of God.
nozīmē visu, kas ir, nolikt pie Dieva kājām.
And take again the staff of God, the symbol of your surrender to him.
Un tad atkal paņemt visu to, ko Dievs dod, kā simbolu, kā Dievam ir uzticēts.
God said, Moses, get Joshua to form an army in the valley.
Dievs sacīja, sapulcini armiju ielējā.
Yes, we have to fight,
Jā, mums ir jācīnas,
but the victory does not come from the method of fighting.
bet uzvara nenāk no metodes, ar kādu mēs cīnāmies.
And you and I have to fight. We take the armor that God gives us and we fight.
Un mums ir jāņem ieročus, kādus Dievs mums dod, un mums jācīnas.
But Moses, that won't give you victory.
Bet tas nav, kā mēs iegūstam uzvaru.
Moses, go onto the hill
Mozu, tev jāiet kalnā
and take the staff of God in your hand.
un ņemi Dieva zīli savā rokā.
And as you hold it up before God,
Un kad tu turēsi Dievu priekšā,
it's a symbol of a transaction that has taken place,
tas simbolizēs to rīcību,
where all that you are and all that you possess
ar visu, kas tu esi un visu, kas tev pieder.
was thrown down at the feet of God.
Ja tas tiks nolikts pie Dieva kājām,
You discovered it was a hiding place for the snake, the evil one.
tu sapratīsi, ka viss, kas nav Dievam notikts, ir čūskas paslēpšanās vieta.
But now you took it again by the tail, the harmless bit,
Bet tad tu satveri to pie astes.
and you left the dangerous bit with God. God will give victory over the
Un
serpent.
to bīstamo tu uztici Dievam, un Dievs dos uzvaru.
And as you hold your staff in the air,
Un kad tu turi savu zīli gaisā,
you're saying this battle does not belong to us as the people of Israel. The battle belongs to the Lord.
tad tu sacīsi, tas nepieder man, tāpat kā Izraels savās cīņās bija atkarīgs no Dieva.
This is his victory.
Tā ir viņa uzvara.
It says in 1 Corinthians 15, thanks be to God who gives us the victory in Christ Jesus.
Pirmajā vēstulē Korintiešiem 15. nodaļā ir rakstīts pateicība Dievam, kas mums dod uzvaru Jēzu Kristu.
You don't fight it to win it, he gives it to you.
Tu necīnies, lai uzvarētu, uzvara tev top dot.
That with an open hand,
Kad atvērta roka,
you say, Lord, your victory in this situation,
kungs, tā ir tava uzvara šajā
your
situācijā.
power in place of my weakness.
Tu esi tas, kas man dod uzvaru.
And God will give it.
Un Dievs tev dos uzvaru.